Welcome to another video, guys. Today is gonna be the first time I do a full class meta report, and you guys chose that class to be Warlock. So today we're gonna do a full meta report on the class Warlock. I'm still not sure exactly what I want to include in these videos, but for now I will give you the best performing deck and still do an overview for it, show you its win rates, do a mulligan guide, and tell you if it's worth crafting. Other than that, since we're super close to a year rotation, I will also show you what cards is this class losing and what cards are remaining for it for the future, so that way we can get a feel of what the class might look like in a couple of months. Let me know in the comments what else do you guys think I should be including in videos like these, and we will make it happen. Like always, a like and a subscribe would really be appreciated, especially since so many of you are still not subscribed. Now, let's get into the report. As you guys know, I really enjoy using HS Replay's premium feature for my meta reports, so let's do that for Warlock right now. For the last 3 days from Diamond to Legend, here's what the results look like. It is no one surprised that Warlock is still smashing it, and that is why I included it in my last top 5. And you can definitely check out that video so you can get an overview for Warlock right there. There are a ton of versions of Warlock, but they're all pretty much 95% the same, deviating with 1 or 2 cards max. So since we did cover the best Warlock deck already, let's move down to the second best, which is Control Warlock. For Control Warlock, you can either go with the Galakrond version or not the Galakrond version. It's not much of a sample size for the last 3 days, but we can see the Control Warlock has above 3000 games with it, with a nifty 53% win rate, which is not too shabby for that much games. So let's cover that one. The deck is benefiting beautifully by the new Armor Vendor card, which definitely fits well in decks like these. It also finds room for a couple of Acidic Swamp Oozes, which is gonna be a nice deck for you against all of the weapon rogues out there, as well as the bomb warriors. But if we have to be realistically speaking, half of the decks right now are running plenty of weapons, so it's always gonna be somewhat useful. But you can definitely tech in something different if you feel you're missing that. We obviously have the Fragment package, with the new Lucky Hoarders included as well. We have the new Hysteria included as well, and also the cool Envoy Rustwicks. There's also a Sense Demon included here, since you do run 4 demons in total, including Ticketus and the new Envoy Rustwicks, which can be a pretty good value generator for you in those long-lasting games. You also have your Strongmen, which you can either corrupt to 0 mana, or you can use them to actually corrupt your Ticketus. And we curve out with a couple of Twisting Netters, Alexstrasza, and Isharj. For the matchups, here's what they look like. Lifesteal Demon Hunter is gonna be pretty hard for you, cause you're not gonna be applying that much pressure for them in the early game, so they're gonna be able to do whatever the hell they want. The new Token and Trend Druids are gonna be a little bit on the unfavorable side. Most hunters will easily go phase through your taunts. And yeah, Bomb Warrior is also gonna be pretty rough for you, since you are gonna be drawing a lot of cards. And also Stealth Rogue might be a little bit too fast for you, but all in all, it's not that bad, especially if you're skilled with the deck. When going first, here's what your mulligan's gonna be looking like. You will definitely want your Spirit Jailers and Armor Vendors, and depending on the matchup you're playing against, you might want your Dark Skies, since it deals with pretty much any early boards. But also you could consider keeping School of Spirits, especially if you're against something like a Trend Druid. Keeping Ticketus early would help you actually play it somewhat on curve, but don't get too baited keeping him against faster classes, cause they won't really care about burning 5 cards. Sense Demons will draw your Spirit Jailers or Ticketus or your Envoy Rustwicks, so it's not gonna be a bad card drawing tool for you. Other than that, you could also keep Soul Shear or Hysteria, but try not to overkeep too many of the same type of cards. When going second, the situation is somewhat the same, but keeping 1-drops is not that important apparently. Depending on what you're playing against, Militia could actually be a worth keep for you, but try not to keep her too much against classes that will deal easily with her, especially if you're not gonna be using it for clearing a board. With a deck like this, it really comes down to the class you're playing against, so think long and hard what exactly will you need against that class, and don't just generally keep cards that will be generally good against most. Is the deck worth crafting? Well, it's not cheap, but the good news is that you're almost not losing anything from it. Aside from Dark Skies, which is a pretty huge card, and also Kurtut Defender is going out, but you can definitely find replacements for him. Other than that, for Warlock, we can also see that Quest Warlock is trying to do something, but the win rates are just dreadful. Right now there's no Quest Warlock that it's actually above 50% win rate from Diamond to Legend, so it's probably still not the time for it. Like I said, you can also try the Galakrond version, which again is tagged as Control Warlock for some odd reason, but it's doing just as good as the Control Warlock I just showcased. But the downside to that is that the Galakrond package is basically rotating out in 2 months, so don't get used to it. Silas is an interesting card you could consider even adding in your control Warlock instead of a, let's say, Twisting Nether or a Strongman for instance. But the cool thing about Silas in this deck with the Galakron is that the Invoke always gives you crappy 1/1s, so it's probably not gonna work as well in this version. In these meta reports, I do want to also showcase you guys the cheapest best working decks, but in this case, with Zoolock, we already have the cheapest deck as the best performing deck as well, so there's no real reason for me to actually cover it once more. I guess I can showcase you guys the cheapest version of Zoolock that is still doing very well, and the cheapest Zoolock version that still works beautifully is this one that doesn't run the Prime, but instead has an extra Expired Merchant. Now let's check out what important cards is the class going to be losing once the April rotation happens. The sets that will be rotating are Rise of Shadows, Saviors of Ildum, Descent of Dragons, and Galakron's Awakening. Like I said, Dark Skies is gonna be leaving Standard soon. And so is Plague of Flames, which was also a pretty good card for the class. Expired Merchant is a very important card that also leaves Standard, which was a pretty huge card draw generator most of the time for Zoolock, but we kinda have a replacement for that already. Like I said, the Galakron package is leaving, Aranasi Broodmother, which was a pretty good Quest Warlock heal generator, but then again, we're also losing the Quest. Nether Breath was pretty cool, the Crazed Netherwing as well. Nobody's gonna be missing Twisted Knowledge though, and plenty of other cool cards that saw play here and there. Let's not forget that the Classic set is also gonna get a rework, so some of these cards might also get touched. I'm not sure how, I'm not sure if, but it's also something to think about that these cards might get changed in the near future. Okay, so we saw what the class is losing, now let's see what remains for the class after the rotation. We can see that the fragments will be remaining for it, which is gonna be a pretty good core feature for it in the future sets. So I'm expecting that the fragments will be an important part of most of the good Warlock decks out there after the expansion rotation. Ticketus is still gonna remain strong after that, and it probably will get a nerf at some point, but for now it is remaining pretty strong. Envoy Restwix will be helping the class with the huge primes for the late game. We're still gonna have Raised Dead, the Core Demons, the Flesh Giant, which is a huge deal for Zoolocks. We might see some cool demon-only deck at some point in the future if Team 5 keeps on giving support for that kinda meta deck. But yeah, for now we can say that Zoo and Control will remain the dominant meta decks for the future for Warlock as well. Of course, without seeing the new set so far. So I think that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed this first class meta report I did, and do let me know if you want me to include something else in these as well. For the next class meta report, I think I probably will make a community vote poll in my community section, so check it out and drop your vote there. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.